Hey Gary, wanted to get right back with you. Wanted to thank you for striving there to really, comprehend the monetary structure. And wanted to try to get right into your things about your four things. Really try to go through those. One is that the economy is the important thing over the monetary system and the money system. Okay, and because it's the economy that's dysfunctional. Okay, now here's the clue. Okay, it's the money system that's dysfunctional. Okay, and because the money system is dysfunctional, the financial system, which rides on, participates in, is part of the mechanical manifestation of the money system working. Okay, is in chaos, and as a result of that, the economy cannot function. Okay, so when it comes down to what's the foundation issue causally for things that happen within the economy, because from the economy you go right to people, okay? Uh, you need to think about that some more, okay? The reason that they spent the hundreds of billions and the trillions to try to save the banking system, okay, and not the economy, is because the banking system is part of the financial system that's based on the monetary system, and it's the money system that's at fault. Okay, it's the money system that's flawed. It's the money system that's dysfunctional, and it's causing all of those, percolating up manifestations of failure. Okay, you cannot fix the economy. You can fix the money system. Uh, and so that deals with your point about whether the change of the money system is the minor part of the overall structure. Um, not true. Totally agree that the economy is dysfunctional. Now you into this thing about interest on surplus and the fact that the unions, because I defended the unions, is taking their savings and pension plans and getting a return on that. And the key to me is this. Okay, the labor has already been expended on whatever was produced by by the union member. Okay, it's the reward for the labor, wages, that has gotten saved out of the wages and accumulated, which is what they do, right? And then whether it's in the hands of the union or the hands of the union member, that really doesn't make any difference. That is the part of their work that they have as cash, as some monetary thingy, and if somebody's going to use that money, and it becomes a question of whether are we talking about completely doing away with capitalism, the ownership of capital? Because if we're not, and I'm not, then we need to be talking about what's wrong with somebody renting out real capital that they themselves have earned. I'm just saying, to me, I don't have a problem with that. I don't see what's wrong with that. Like I said, the labor has already been expended. It's in the product that got sold for a price that included the wages that guy. So there's no excess surplus being gained on anything really in that case. And I want to contrast that, by the way, with the banks, who don't have the money when you walk in and create $10,000 right there on the spot. They don't have the money. It's nobody's money. They create that money, and they create it on the spot in return for your promissory note and your security agreement. And they give it to you, and you buy a car, and they take title to the car, and they charge you interest on the money that they gave you on the basis of your own creditworthiness. Okay? Now that's a problem. That's the problem that you want to end and get rid of. Now just to try to be clear about that, and I feel like I've either addressed, or I have addressed, all of those four things that that you re-raised there. Okay, Gary, you're going to keep doing this. You know, my coffee video did not address the fact you said. Okay, there'd be no change in interest as a result of going to full reserve banking. Okay, now I don't know what you think you know about full reserve banking. I think I've cited, in some places where to get really good full reserve, 100% money, resources, so you really understand how that system works, okay? And then we get to say, if the money's being created by the government, it's funny because at one point you said, when you were struggling with the Treasury certificate and whether it was real money or not, and you said, and why should we borrow it and pay interest on it, which is, whoa, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You said, we might as well print the money ourselves. That's monetary reform, okay? That's it, Gary. Sometimes those things might, be like you're walking along and you stepped on the rake and come up and hit you in the head. But anyway, if we're printing the money ourselves, and if you follow my structure of the money supply, whether it's M1, M2, M3, none of that stuff really matters. All that stuff is part of the money supply. You were struggling with what's the definition of money. And as you were getting around with it, I don't know, it seemed to me you were coming to some kind of realization about some things about what money is, okay? But if you accept that, then that same M3, okay, or M2, or whichever M we're talking about, is going to be exactly the same. There's going to be the same amount of money. Now, if there's the same amount of money created, and it is created as money, it ends up, under our plan, proposal, system, in the banks. Because there's no place else to end up, okay? It's money that's created and paid out by the government into existence. It has to end up in the banks, okay? So it's in the banks. It has to be. Be clear about that. It's in the banks. The money supply now exists. It's exactly the same money supply sitting there. Supposing you had a fractional reserve banking system over here, and you had a full reserve banking system over here, and each one of those has exactly the same amount of money in there. Then where's the constraint, okay, that you're looking for in the supply-demand equation? Where's the constraint that's going to drive up interest rates? Okay? Now let me tell you a clue, okay? You even said this a long time ago. It's about the demand for loans. It's the need for the demand for loans. The demand for loans determines the interest rates, okay? So it's things that happen out in the economy that determine the interest rates. Now, to some degree, it depends on what they're paying for interest. So that's for sure. That's a given. But then on top of that, it's a matter of how thin of a spread can the bank live with over what period of time, thus the curve, on holding on to the people's money. Okay? So there's no reason for interest rates to go up. There's no scarcity of money. As a matter of fact, the money system we have now is the scarcity money system. Okay? That's how it works. What do you think that when the Fed Open Market Committee sets a trend on interest rates, what it's trying to do is create a shortage, and then a surplus, and then a shortage, and then a surplus, and there's the Fed Open Market Committee, and here's the Monetary Authority, okay, setting it, achieving it, it's there, there's no problem with it. It's real easy, Gary. It's real easy once you get it. So I might have done not too good of a job, I'm keen to, to hear that and to think about that, but if you didn't understand what I was saying, the key to having any rational discussion, I think, about monetary systems, money systems, how money systems affect the economy and all of that stuff, is to acknowledge, fairness, is to in the discussion, intellectually acknowledge it. And if you do that, then you acknowledge that the full reserve banking system over here has exactly the same money in it, okay? Only it's been created without debts, okay? And then over here you have the fractional reserve money system created, remember what I said about the bankers creating the money as debts? All debt, okay? So it's all created as debt. What does that mean about that money system? That's the money system that in the future you're worried about the inflationary impact on money. It's in that system because it all came into existence as a debt. I'll leave it at that. And I look forward to the second half.